Hello, my name is Josh. I have been here since beginning of last year. So come January, I've been here for 2 years. I work in histopathology. Essentially, we have specimens come in which we have cut up and dictate if there's anything wrong with them or not, type up the macro, send out the reports. We have specimens from other hospitals come in. It can be quite an intense job a lot of the time. We don't really get a lot of moments to take a break, so especially at this current point in time. But I think if anyone goes into an NHS job, you know what you're getting into. So, okay, firstly, and I'm going to address this for any and all people who have autism or high-functioning autism or any form of it. We do not all count cards. We're not Rain Man. I've had so many people come up to me and say, oh, you've got autism, so you're really good at counting cards. Yeah, I said, no, I'm not. I'm terrible at counting. I have dyscalculia as well. I can't do maths. So no, I don't believe necessarily anything you see in media or film, because I'm yet to see something that actually gives a really good portrayal of that. Actually, the only time I've ever seen anything that came close was a Thai martial arts movie. It was a film called Chocolate. It was about a young girl who had autism, and her mother was a gangster and is getting ill, and she has to get money for her mother to get well. And it's not like any other film where anyone with autism is either unable to speak or is just terribly inhibited in the world. She sees the world differently, and she has hyper obsession, which does come with autism a lot of the time. A lot of us will get hyper obsessed over something or need to finish on something, for me anyway. But I think it went for a very general overview look. It wasn't trying to be specific, which I think is very important, because if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. You can't umbrella us under a particular category of everyone's like that. There are some universal stuff, like a lot of the people I've met sometimes find eye contact difficult with someone we don't know that well, but I mean, give me a little bit of time, I can get past that. And a lot of the time, if it is someone I have just met, they will assume I'm being rude by not looking at them, but just personally, I'll find it a lot more uncomfortable to try and look them in the eye, and if I've tried it before and it's made them uncomfortable as well, because then I'll start staring at them, and that doesn't work too well for anyone. When I first came in, I don't generally put on like any job applications or anything that I have, because I have autism, I have dyslexia, and I have dyscalculia and dyspraxia. So I've got a wonderful collection. I don't tend to put that on job resumes and stuff, because I do sometimes get worried about having a pre-stigma put on me. I'm usually happy to discuss it quite openly in person with people once I've gotten to know someone or something. It won't be like the first thing I come out with, but I'm happy to talk about it. But I'll normally not bring it up quite so soon, because I do feel I have to then prove myself that I can do a job just as well as anyone else. I may have a different way of doing it, but you will get the same result out of me, and more often than not you will get more of a result out of me, because I feel I have to go that extra mile to I wouldn't say necessarily prove myself. I struggled a lot in school. I had to really work hard to get a good qualification, and I had to go into education quite viciously, especially my later stage of education, just to make up for that. So in my opinion, I've already proved myself that I know I can do what anyone else can. I just know I have a different approach to it. But working in this sort of environment, it's not too much of a competitive edge environment, so that probably helps, because everyone's here doing the same job, working towards the same goal. So I'm sure if I ended up on Wall Street or something, that'd be a totally different story. There might be a few words thrown around here and there, but no, for this sort of environment, it's very much like, okay, we're all here doing the same job, but I will try and go the extra mile, just to to prove to other people that I may have this, but it's not going to affect what I do. But I'm usually happy to discuss it with people, especially if I feel I'm going to be in a close proximity to people. I'll say, look, there may be a few things about me that you may notice, you may not notice. There's been, many times where it's come out that, oh my goodness, you have autism? Yes, I do. But sorry, just on a side note, if you ever say to someone, oh, you have autism? Oh, well, I didn't notice. Never say that. Please, never say that. Because more often than not, you won't notice. You won't know. There's a lot of, unless you know what you're looking for, you're not going to notice anything different about, like myself. If you've gotten to know me over a long period of time, or sometimes a short period of time, you're not going to see me as different to anyone else. Maybe for the first time you meet me, but usually when you first meet someone, there's normally a bit of tension or nerves there anyway. So, yeah, never say, oh, I could never tell, because you shouldn't be able to anyway, unless it's glaringly obvious, which most cases it often isn't. Personally, I've been quite lucky with jobs with management. They're normally quite understanding about it. My manager here actually took the time to actually research, which I was very grateful for. I've had, experience with some colleagues, co-workers who think they know, but they don't. I think educating people to what, especially the amount of difference between one person to another. So, if I was stood next to another person with autism, I'm not going to have the same kind of issues that they have. They're not going to have the same issues as me. Being able to educate that to people would be, in my mind, do the world a huge favour, especially for someone with autism, because, like I mentioned earlier, the whole, oh, how to count cards. No. Stop assuming you know something until you actually know something, and don't assume I can't do something, because I guarantee you I can. I may do it differently, or it may take me a little longer to get to grips with it, but once I've got it, there were certain elements of this job that I wasn't able to do at first, and I had a co-worker who just, oh, well, you're not going to be able to do it because of what you have. No, that's not true. And now I can do it better than anyone here. So that proved that point. Where I used to work somewhere where they weren't particularly supportive of what I had. As I say, I've had cases before people say, oh, well, you can't do that because you've got this. But I'd say the worst occasion I had, I was doing a job. Again, like I've said, I do it differently to someone else, and I had a co-worker come up and just completely take me away from that job, saying, well, you're not doing it the way I do it. I was like, oh, no, but I know this works. It's no, but you're not doing it the way I do it. And looked me quite dead in the eye and said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Your condition, you're never going to be able to do this job. You're not going to be able to succeed in it. Why don't you just leave it? Why don't you just quit, find something else to do? That was a little bit, I was an adult by this point, and I hadn't, experienced something quite that cruel since I'd been in school, so I was very taken aback by it. Part of my experience with autism is it takes me a long time to process something, especially a sudden emotional thing like that, so that took me a long time to process it. I've been referred to by that horrible R word before. Not often, it's only happened once, thankfully, but that's, that wasn't all that long ago. I was a little bit, I thought we'd kind of moved past that in this day and age, to be honest. Luckily it wasn't by a co-worker, or that hopefully would have resulted in someone else losing their job, but where I am currently now, where I'm working, there's nothing that's said maliciously. I think things are said due to lack of understanding, which hopefully you can educate people on, and this kind of thing can lead to better understanding. But yeah, for me, in this sort of place, it's more just to do with, like I said, of, oh, are you sure you can do that? Asking someone what they're comfortable with, that's fine, that's helpful, that's useful, so I can say, yeah, I'm comfortable with this, or I don't know, but let's see. Or maybe I can tell you straight up, look, I can, if the nature of this kind of job is the tasks are shifting all the time and different things come up, I'm luckily in a position where the manager I have will say to me, "But this has come up, can you do it?" And if I say, I know I will not be able to achieve this, they will understand that, but also I'm able to say, I don't know, but I will certainly try, and let's find out, you know, because I think it's important to know your boundaries, but it's also important to learn where to push those boundaries as well. But yeah, no, just currently where I am, it's just more of a case of little comments that maybe they don't think through, like if I have a colleague who can quickly do maths in their head, for instance, like they'll do the calculations and, oh, I need these numbers, I'll have to take out a calculator. Or same with spelling, like, oh, it's this word, because it'll be a long time in the dictation where you're listening to words and you have to type them up, and you know, even if they're simple words, and I'll have to get a colleague to maybe listen to it, because I can't quite understand what they're saying, so we have a lot of different accents and ethnicities that are sometimes difficult for me to pick up on. So they'll say, oh, it's this word, and, oh, well, how do you spell that? I say, well, do you know how to spell that? No, I don't. That's why I'm asking. So, oh, it's quite a simple word. And saying something like, it's quite a simple word, or this is quite a simple calculation, or I know that's not meant in a malicious way, but maybe a bit more thought into how that can make someone feel, because I'm sure it is a simple word, or I'm sure it is a simple calculation, but for someone like me, it doesn't mean it's necessarily simple. It can be quite difficult. And don't assume what we can and can't do when it comes to spell. Like for me, I can still get my B's and D's the wrong way around, yet I could probably tell. In fact, I know I did this the other day. I was asking the spelling of a certain word, quite a simple word, didn't know how to do it. The colleague thought I would find any words difficult to spell, yet I could happily go sit down and tell you how to spell discombobulate, which to them makes no sense. To me it doesn't either particularly, but that's the way my brain works. But yeah, even if it's something simple and straightforward that I need help with, I'm asking help for a reason. I'm not trying to be difficult, and I know that colleagues aren't necessarily trying to be malicious when they say, oh, it's quite simple, oh, it's quite easy. I said, I'm sure it is, but I need the time to do it. You know, when I was learning to do this job, certain aspects of it which were considered incredibly complex and would take a long time, I picked that up fairly easily, because to me, if there's a logical approach to something, then that's set in stone and I know how to do it, and I can do that without any issue in really complex tasks, while other tasks that I consider the more simple tasks, if there's no particular logical or direct way to approach it, that will take me longer to pick up, which did confuse a lot of people to begin with. But you know, the office I share with the other colleagues, they're all very understanding, and they you know, they're always happy to ask any question. I think it is important to be able to feel comfortable to ask, well, what is it I should be looking out for? What is it that you're happy or comfortable with, or what can I do to help you? I think that's really important, and it's nice for me for someone just to be direct like that. You know, don't be rude about it, obviously, but you know, being quite direct and just saying, okay, well, what is it that will cause an issue, or what can I do to help, or something like that. That's very nice for me to hear.